The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. These words by Carl Jung carry a weight that goes far beyond mere theory. They touch on the raw reality of human relationships, the silent battles of perception, and the unspoken truths that shape how people see each other. Have you ever wondered why, despite your best efforts to be kind, genuine, and understanding, some people seem to dislike you, even hate you? You show nothing but kindness, you extend empathy, you carry no malice in your heart, and yet the reaction you receive is coldness, envy, or even outright hostility. It feels unfair, doesn't it? It almost makes you question yourself. Am I doing something wrong? Is my kindness misunderstood? But here lies the truth. Often it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Your kindness, your light, your authenticity, these qualities don't always soothe others. Sometimes they provoke. They stir something deep within people, something hidden in their unconscious, something they would rather not face. And instead of gratitude, you are met with resistance. This is exactly what Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists of the 20th century, explained about human behavior and hidden emotions. Jung believed that within every individual lies a shadow, the repressed, unacknowledged parts of the self. And when someone encounters your genuine kindness, it can act like a mirror, reflecting back to them the emptiness, the insecurities, or the wounds they've buried. To them, your light exposes their shadow, and instead of confronting it, they project it back onto you as dislike, envy, or hate. So, the hatred you sometimes face is not about who you are, but about what you awaken in others. In this video, we are going to explore why kindness often draws not only admiration but also resentment, and how Jung's insights can help you understand this paradox of human connection. We will dive deep into the psychology behind projection, envy, and the human shadow, and most importantly, I'll share with you practical ways to deal with this reality without losing the very essence of who you are, your kindness. When Carl Jung spoke of the human psyche, he often returned to one idea that explains so much of the tension we feel in our relationships. People do not see you as you are, they see you as they are. This is the foundation of projection. Imagine for a moment that every person walks through life carrying a mirror that reflects not only what they love about themselves, but also what they reject, deny, or despise within. When such a person encounters your kindness, they may not see kindness at all. They may see a reflection of their own lack of it, the warmth they've never been able to embody, or the generosity they secretly crave but cannot give. Jung explained that what we cannot accept in ourselves, we often throw onto others, blaming them, resenting them, hating them, all while never recognizing that what we hate is a disowned part of our own soul. So when you meet someone with an open heart, and instead of receiving gratitude you are met with coldness or even hostility, it is not because your kindness is wrong. It is because your presence has stirred their own unhealed wounds. This leads us directly into Jung's concept of the shadow. The shadow is the hidden basement of the human mind, the place where all our repressed thoughts, weaknesses, fears, and insecurities are locked away. For many people, this shadow grows heavier with time, because society teaches us to wear masks of strength, control, and confidence, while burying the fragile parts of ourselves deeper and deeper. Now, when such a person encounters genuine kindness, that kindness can act as a beam of light, cutting into the darkness they have been hiding for years. Instead of welcoming the light, they recoil from it, because it threatens to expose their shadow. Your simple act of compassion may force them to feel the loneliness they have ignored. Your patience may remind them of their own anger issues. Your humility may echo the arrogance they refuse to admit. And in that moment, they do not thank you, they fight you. Hatred becomes a shield they use to protect themselves from what your kindness awakens in them. This is why, paradoxically, the more authentic you are, the more uncomfortable some people become. Your presence alone disrupts the stories they tell themselves about who they are. And then comes another element that Jung hinted at, one we often experience in daily life without naming it: envy and psychological threat. Many people are caught in a silent competition of worth, measuring themselves against others, building fragile towers of pride that collapse at the first sign of someone stronger, purer, or more grounded. To such a person, your kindness can feel like an attack, not because you are attacking them, but because your way of being reveals what they are not. Some interpret kindness as weakness, dismissing it with cynicism because they cannot comprehend strength that does not disguise itself as dominance. Others see it as moral superiority, a quiet challenge to their ego, and they resent the mirror it holds up to their inadequacies. It is not uncommon for someone to feel that your patience makes their impulsiveness look childish, or that your empathy makes their indifference look cruel, and instead of humbly learning from you, they turn against you. This is the tragedy of human pride. When faced with an example of what they are missing, many people would rather destroy the example than confront the absence. Jung believed that this cycle is deeply unconscious. People are rarely aware that they are projecting, rarely aware that their shadow is reacting, rarely aware that their envy is the true source of their hostility. They simply feel a rush of irritation, discomfort, or disdain when around you, and they justify it with superficial reasons. He's too nice, it feels fake, or she's always smiling, it's annoying. But beneath those excuses lies something far more raw, the pain of facing their own inner void. This is why kindness can be both magnetic and repellent. To those who are open, it is a light they are drawn toward. To those who are closed, it is a light they cannot bear. And so, you must understand, when people hate you even though you are kind, it is not proof of your failure. It is proof of their struggle. Your kindness has stirred the unconscious forces within them, projection, shadow, envy, and instead of embracing transformation, they resist. They may distance themselves. They may speak ill of you. They may even try to undermine you. But all of it is less about you and more about the turmoil inside them. Recognizing this truth can free you from unnecessary guilt. Jung's insight gives us a lens to see clearly, that often being disliked is not a punishment for being kind, but a consequence of the deep psychological battles that kindness unintentionally awakens in others. So, once we understand why kindness can provoke dislike, the next question becomes, how do we deal with it? Jung was clear that awareness is the first step to freedom, but awareness alone is not enough. We need to translate that awareness into how we live, how we protect ourselves, and how we choose to engage with others. The first truth you must embrace is this: not everyone will like you, and that is perfectly fine. Too often we confuse kindness with the desire to be universally accepted, but these are not the same thing. Kindness is a way of being, a reflection of your character. Acceptance is dependent on the wounds, biases, and projections of others. If you tie your worth to their approval, you will always be a prisoner of shifting opinions. Jung taught that individuation, the process of becoming your true self, requires letting go of the need to please the collective. Some people will misunderstand you, some will misjudge you, and some will resent you, and you must allow that reality to exist without letting it poison your heart. Once you accept this truth, you can move to the next step: boundaries. Many people confuse kindness with passivity, as if to be kind means to let others walk over you, to say yes when you mean no, to endure mistreatment for the sake of peace. But true kindness is not weakness, it is strength under control, and part of that strength is knowing when to set limits. A person without boundaries does not radiate kindness, they radiate availability for exploitation. Jung would remind us that repression always leads to resentment, and when you repress your own needs in the name of being nice, you eventually build quiet anger within yourself. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They allow you to give generously without draining your soul. Alongside boundaries comes another essential realization: you cannot and should not try to please everyone. To live authentically means you will inevitably disappoint some people, and that is not a failure, but a sign that you are no longer enslaved to their expectations. Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." If you spend your life shaping yourself into what others want, you lose that privilege entirely. Kindness does not require applause, and it is not diminished when others fail to recognize it. It is enough that it is real, that it flows from you without demand. To stay rooted in this truth, you must also learn to direct your energy wisely. Not everyone deserves your time, your empathy, or your heart. Some will only take without ever giving, some will drain without ever nourishing, and some will resent the very light you bring. Your task is not to convince them of your value, but to recognize who already sees it. Pour into the relationships that honor you, invest in the people who appreciate your presence, and surround yourself with those who can give as much as they receive. Life is too short to waste proving yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. Finally, Jung's wisdom reminds us of the deepest practice of all, self-awareness. He famously wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." When people react negatively to your kindness, their unconscious is speaking louder than their reason, but the same is true for you. If you are not conscious of your motives, your patterns, your wounds, you may fall into the trap of using kindness as a mask, giving not out of love, but out of fear of rejection or a hidden need for validation. True kindness flows from wholeness, not from emptiness. To cultivate that wholeness, you must turn inward, confront your own shadow, acknowledge your own projections, and bring light into your own hidden corners. The more you do this inner work, the less the reactions of others will disturb you, because you will know that their feelings belong to them, not to you. And so, the way to live as a kind person in a world that does not always welcome kindness is not to harden your heart, nor to give up your nature, but to live with wisdom, to accept rejection without bitterness, to guard your soul with healthy boundaries, to stop chasing the impossible dream of universal approval, to nurture relationships that nurture you back, and to constantly expand your self-awareness. Jung's insights remind us that your kindness may awaken hate in others, but it can also awaken strength in you, if you allow it to guide you toward deeper understanding, resilience, and authenticity. In the end, we return to the simple but powerful truth. Being kind is a strength, not a weakness, but not everyone is ready to face that truth. Carl Jung showed us that when people react with hate or envy toward your kindness, it is rarely about you and almost always about what is unresolved within them. Their projections, their shadows, their insecurities, all of these rise to the surface in the presence of genuine light, and sometimes that light is too much for them to bear. So do not let their reactions harden your heart or make you question your nature. True strength lies in staying kind without being naive, in setting boundaries without losing compassion, in living authentically without begging for approval. When people project their hate onto you, remember, it says far more about their inner struggles than it ever does about your kindness. Your task is not to fight their darkness, but to keep nurturing your light. And now, I'd like to hear from you. What about you? Have you ever experienced hate despite your kindness? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to read it, and maybe together we can create a space where kindness is not just understood, but celebrated.